Good news. Tonight is a Chodesh Kislev. We celebrate the recovery of the Rebbe, the miraculous recovery that the Rebbe had after his heart attack in Tafshim Lamed Ches, 1978. It's also Parshas Toldos. We're speaking about the story of Yitzchak, Yaakov, and Esav. And the life story of Yitzchak is basically in Parshas Toldos. Next week already starts speaking about Yaakov. And how does the Parsha, so the Parsha of Toldos speaks about the life story of Yitzchak. Avram's story is in the Parshas of Lech Lecha, Vayera, Chayesara, but Yitzchak is really one Parsha, it's Toldos. That speaks about what he did. Next week is already Yaakov. So which Parsha, what is the name of the Parsha that highlights Yitzchak's life? Toldos. Toldos means having children. Which children that Yitzchak had? He had Esav and Yaakov, two very different types of children. But the general word, Toldos gives out, we know that the name of the Parsha brings out its essence. It doesn't say Yitzchak and it doesn't say Esav and Yaakov. It says Toldos. The idea of Yitzchak was to have children. What does that mean? It doesn't mean the idea of Yitzchak to have children. Avram also had children. Yaakov also had children, right? Avram had Yitzchak and Ishmael. Yaakov also had children. Why is his life expressed by the term children? So the Rabbi explains a very powerful point. The Rabbi explains Avram had many people he inspired. The Pasuk says that the Sanefesh Erasu B'Charan, the souls that Avram acquired in B'Charan, Avram inspired many people. He went around from place to place, giving lectures, inspiring people. So Avram had many followers. He had many people that were under his influence, right? Yitzchak also did in a different way. Yitzchak had a different derech avoid. Yitzchak had a different way of teaching people, a different mode of divine service. He also had many students. Yaakov also did. But the Rebbe says a very powerful point. Avram's mode of operation was that he went to people, he dealt with people that were on a very spiritual low, even Arabs that would bow down to the dust on the bottom of their feet, as the expression goes, which means reflects both a very low spiritual and even physical, mental state. Avram spoke with them about the Eibusher. Avram inspired them, he gave them to eat, and he taught them about the Eibusher. He made sure they blessed the Eibusher, and they knew about Hashem. Yitzchak also taught them, but the difference is Avram dealt with people in a way that they walked away. Avram went down to their level, but Avram didn't inherently transform them. These people, yes, they mentioned Eibusher's name and so on and so forth. First of all, not everyone converted to Avram's religion. Even those that did convert to Avram's religion, nevertheless, they remained within their level, just they accepted Avram's way of life. Avram was a very good source of inspiration. It was all due to Avram. It wasn't necessarily something that became who they were. Yitzchak, on the other hand, Yitzchak had a different mode of service. Yitzchak's avodah was not to open up Chabad houses all around town and to give people to eat and make concerts and parties and different events where people would come and people would make a bracha. They would do a mitzvah and walk away for the night and go back home and go back and watch the nightly news. Yitzchak's avodah was, he wanted people to really work on themselves. He wanted to inherently transform people. So what did Yitzchak do? Yitzchak would dig wells. What's the idea of digging wells? Digging wells means you have to take off all the dirt, all the stones, until you reach the living waters that are hidden at the bottom of the earth. Avram didn't dig too deep into people. Yitzchak dug. He worked on people in a way that he really transformed them. They became completely different. Not just they became a nice Chabad house Jew that walked in once a week and did a mitzvah and that's it. Yitzchak really worked on them.
They gave the kalas.
Yeah, he completely transformed them in a way that they were different people now.
Came back with Yechiyanuka.
So this is the point that the Rabbi says that Avram's influence on people was not in a way that they could be called his children. A child means a child is similar to the father. So Avram didn't influence people; they were his children. They were his followers. They were his. What do they have today on social media? Followers, people that like. He got a lot of likes. Did he have people? Were they his children? They loved him. They lived with his inspiration, but they remained who they were, just with the flavor, with the taste, with the inspiration of Avram. Yitzchak's mode of operation is completely different. Yitzchak made children. A child means you're similar to the father. You inherently become transformed. So the Rebbe says we need to have both, but we have to realize that the ultimate avodah is Yitzchak. Yitzchak, the ultimate goal is, we know Chabad, Shlichus, we all learn from Avram. Avram traveled the world. Yitzchak didn't travel much. Yitzchak stayed where he was. People had to come to him. Avram traveled around, spreading the word. Yitzchak stayed home. So from one hand, Avram was much more outgoing. He did the job of spreading the word. But on the other hand, if you want people to try inherently change, you have to want that the people should come to your level. If you always are going down to them and they're always used to you going down to them, they're not going to go up to your level. They have to be changed to the extent that they go up to your level. So this is the message, that the ultimate effect you have on people is when you change them. What does it mean in our Avodas Hashem? So I was thinking a few points, particularly in connection with Rosh Chodesh Kislev. First of all, someone once told me, Chassidish Yid once told me, he said that by Farbrengens, he says a lot of people, they speak about Seiviv Kolam. You know what Seiviv Kolam means? Seiviv Kolam in the Chassidic terms, which means a godliness that transcends the world. They speak about nice topics, about the Rebbe, about Mashiach, about Ahavas Yisrael, a lot of inspiration, a lot of love, a lot of brotherhood, a lot of soul talk. But they don't speak about Mamaleklam, they don't speak about details. He was telling me, this particular Chassidus, he was telling me, they don't speak about not talking during davening, to answer Kaddish, to be careful in how you put on tefillin, and in Shmir Shabbos, and all these things. We speak about general things. So the idea is, inspiration is general, but you have to change. If you want, the goal of Judaism is, right? What is a number of years ago, there was a big election in America. The slogan was change, right? The whole idea is, what does change mean? Change doesn't just mean you change the person sitting in the White House. Change means there has to be inherent change. If you want something lasting, something permanent, you can't always rely on getting inspired from someone else. You need to bring it down to details. You have to work on yourself. What does it have to do with Rosh Chodesh Kislev? Rosh Chodesh Kislev, we celebrate the Rebbe's recovery, right? No. You know that the Rebbe had suffered a heart attack, and the Derech HaTeva, as the doctor said, the doctors at the time didn't specify the severity of the situation, but as Dr. Weiss said, if you put on a ladder of 1 to 10, the Rebbe had a full number 10 heart attack, and most other people in that situation didn't survive, and if they did survive, they didn't have a very producing life. They would survive for a little bit of time and constantly have to be supported, be near machines and so on and so forth. And the Rebbe miraculously recovered, right? And because of that, so when the Derech HaTeva were able to see the Rebbe for another 16 years. What does it mean to us today? Today we don't see the Rebbe. What does it mean to us today that we celebrate the health of the Rebbe? We're not just celebrating that we had another 16 years of inspiration from the Rebbe. We're celebrating is the idea of the Rebbe is gesund, that the Rebbe is healthy. What does it mean to us that the Rebbe is healthy? So the Rebbe is healthy, but Chassidim are healthy, the Rebbe is healthy. That's the point. So when Chassidim would dance, Rebbe is gesund, Chassidim knew that if they are healthy, that the Rebbe's health is obviously not just a physical health. The life of a tzaddik is not the food that he eats, it's not the place where he sleeps. The life of a tzaddik is Amunah, Yira, and Ava. Love of the Eibishter, fear of the Eibishter, faith in Hashem. So if Chassidim are healthy, so what happens is that the Rebbe becomes healthy. What does it mean that a person is healthy? So we particularly in the last few years, we saw that health doesn't only depend on big major things. It could have a small tiny virus that you can only see under a microscope that could wreak havoc. So being healthy means that the body is functioning. Every single detail of the body is functioning. If Chassidim are gesund, Chassidim are healthy, they're functioning as Chassidim should be functioning. So then the Rebbe is gesund, then the Rebbe as well is healthy. So it has a number of ramifications, but first of all it means that it's not enough just to be inspired by the Rebbe, and we have it up, and we're very happy about that. You need that the Rebbe should be healthy. A healthy person means he's active, he's productive. Not just that he's there and he's able to see his face. He's healthy, he's productive. So if we want that the Rebbe to be gesund, we have to be gesund. We have to live with the Rebbe's teachings. We have to be healthy with following the Rebbe's ways in a way that it really permeates us. That makes it healthy as well. Particularly, this is also very relevant. We had a few days ago in Tanya that Rebbe explains that health is what the Rebbe explains the importance of achdus, of Jewish unity. And the Rebbe says that we see that even if a person's heart is working perfectly fine, but if a person, one of his limbs, there's something, there's a malfunction, the limb is not working right, and the circulation of the blood cannot reach there, it affects the whole body. It explains the way the heart works. It pumps blood, the blood comes into the heart, comes out of the heart. If any of the limbs are not functioning right, so it affects the whole circulation, the blood circulation in the body. To be healthy, the Rebbe writes, it means that there has to be true unity amongst Jewish people. When all the limbs are united, then the blood, the heart could flow blood freely throughout all the limbs. So the health has many aspects. There's many details. Every single detail is important for health. But most important is that people should be bachless. Chassidim should be bachless. When there's unity and a person doesn't just care about himself, he cares about another yid, another chassid, and he lives that way. So through that, he makes it the Rebbe should be healthy. This is also the connection with Toldos. What's the chumash that we're learning these days? Who is Yitzchak's favorite child? Yitzchak's favorite child was Esav, not Yaakov. Question is why? So the answer is, Chassidus says that Yitzchak saw in Esav great potential. Yitzchak looked at a Jew, Yitzchak looked at each person based on his potential. Esav had tremendous potential. So Yitzchak looks at Esav, he sees that Esav is corrupt. It's not as if Yitzchak didn't know who Esav was. But Yitzchak saw that Esav had very great potential. And therefore Yitzchak wanted to give him brachas. He thought that by blessing him he would reveal his potential. The problem was that, as Chassidus says, if Yitzchak would have given the brachas to Esav directly, wouldn't have had any effect on Esav. It wouldn't have had the desired effect of this. Yitzchak had to give the brachas to Yaakov, and then Yaakov was able to refine Esav. So the Rebbe says, if Yitzchak saw the potential of Esav, and that's how he looked at him, even though Esav was Esav, very few people that merit to have the status of Esav, right? Even the biggest, worst Jew, right, to say he's Esav. Esav was, he wasn't just a small, guy. He was Esav. So even if somebody has the status of Esav, what do we see? That even him, Yitzchak dealt with. Even he, Yitzchak tried to elevate. So how much more so when you're talking with a Jew, which is after the giving of the Torah, no Jew should be is like Esav. So we should look at a Jew like, even if you think the Jew is Esav, which you're probably wrong, but even if you do think that the Jew is Esav, you should look at him as Yitzchak looked at him. Furthermore, the Rebbe says, another powerful lesson the Rebbe says regarding Yitzchak, that Yitzchak became blind. How did Yitzchak become blind? Why did he become blind? There's a number of interpretations. One interpretation was so that Yaakov should be able to get the blessings. Right, like this, Yaakov was, so to say, able to trick Yitzchak into Yitzchak thinking that he's Esav, so like this is able to get the blessings. So the Rebbe says, why did Yitzchak have to suffer for so many years? Yitzchak became blind for many, many years. He gave the brachas to Esav when he was 123 years old, and he passed away 80 years old. It was 60 plus years he was blind. Why did he have to be blind for so many years in order that Yaakov should get the blessings? Why couldn't the Eibusher just tell Yitzchak, Esav is not who you think he is? So the Rebbe says the Eibusher didn't want to say Lashon Hara about Esav. So it was worth it for Yitzchak to suffer for 63 years being blind, so he shouldn't hear Lashon Hara about who Esav really was. But the Rabbi says, we see from here the importance of how much even a guy like Esav, you shouldn't speak Lashon Hara about him. A person say Esav, it's a mitzvah to speak Lashon Hara. The Rabbi says no. So from here we see the importance of achdus, and as I mentioned before, through achdus we become healthy, we make godliness, the Rebbe is healthy, we make godliness revealed in the world. Finish off with one point regarding the month of Kislev. The month of Kislev is a month of redemption, a month of miracles. It's a Chassidish month. Many days of the month are associated with Chassidic days of redemption and so on and so forth. The Rabbi said that each day of this month we should learn something in Chassidus. The Rabbi said really at the time to learn something from each one of the Rabbeim every day, at least on the Baal Shem, the Magnat Rebbe. This is a month to encourage learning the inner part of Torah, the Primis HaTorah, and we should merit that we should have the coming of Mashiach. It says when Mashiach will come, we will say to Yitzchak, Ki ata Avinu, you're our father. Then the connection to Yitzchak will be revealed. Why is Ki ata Avinu with Yitzchak? Because the Mashiach will come, the Avodah will be like Yitzchak, that we won't go down to the lowliness of the world. The lowliness of the world will come up to us, will be elevated, will be transformed. We should merit to have this taken from Yad Mamish.
Amen. Shkayach.